What's up everyone, Jared here. So these two awesome phones have recently hit the market, but one feels undeniably more high-end in the hand than the other. The LG G5 has fallen victim to LG's decision to use a very thin piece of aluminum with a super thick layer of primer with some paint on top. This has caused the phone to feel very lightweight and feel identical to plastic. Now the Galaxy S7 on the other hand stuck it out with a metal frame and glass on the back again, giving it a very high-end feel, but at the unfortunate cost of it showing fingerprints on an almost unsanitary level, which is why I threw on a skin that's not coming off until I sell the thing. The G5 features an IR blaster for controlling appliances and the like, whereas the Galaxy S7 doesn't anymore. And both speakers are located on the bottom, but the G5 pulls way ahead of the S7 in not only volume, but also sound quality. But that's the consequence of having a water and dust resistant device, so that give and take is a bit of a toss-up for me. The G5 also sports a USB-C port, whereas the S7 is still rocking micro USB, but one big and super important similarity the two share is the option for expandable storage, though while the G5 is expandable up to 2 terabytes, the S7 is limited to 200 gigabytes. However, personally, I'll never use up more than even 100 gigs at the most, but that's just me. The G5's fingerprint reader is located on the back, which I think gives it a much more natural unlock method than the one located on the front in the home button on the S7. And even though both unlock quickly, I found the S7's fingerprint reader to be a little more consistently accurate than the G5, though still not as good as the iPhone or Nexus 6P. And while both devices are pretty manageable with one hand, the S7's 5.1-inch Quad HD Super AMOLED display makes it a tad easier to reach across with your thumb compared to the 5.3-inch Quad HD IPS LCD on the G5. Now both displays look great. However, LCD displays like the one featured on the G5 still aren't quite where Super AMOLED displays are with regards to completely dark blacks, color saturation, and brightness. That said, I do prefer the display on the S7 over the G5 quite a bit. Both phones are running Android Marshmallow and both have skins over top that very few people, including myself, are at all fond of. However, at this point, I think I prefer Samsung's TouchWiz over LG's UX 5.0. And the average real-world day-to-day performance seems to be pretty similar between the two, as expected with modern flagship devices these days, so I really have nothing to report on with that. But thanks to the S7's new internal cooling system, it does stay cooler than the G5 by maybe a few degrees when under heavy load. So the G5 is an extremely unique phone for two reasons. The first being its modular design. Now I mentioned in my LG G5 review, which I'll leave a link for in the description below, that I felt like LG is sort of cheating modularity when compared to something like Google's Project Aura. But yes, on a technical level, the G5 is modular. But so far we only have two modules to choose from, that being a camera grip, which gives you some manual controls and an additional battery so you don't rip through battery life like water, and then a DAC module they made in collaboration with Bang & Olufsen, which gives us hi-fi 32-bit audio to melt your ears with. So that's cool, but I really think they should have added some more modules to the list upon launch day. So hopefully they come out with more soon. Otherwise, I'm afraid people will just lose interest. The other reason for it being super unique is the addition of the 8-megapixel 135-degree wide-angle camera that's been added next to the 16-megapixel camera that we saw on the G4. Now, for some reason, my G5's camera software is pretty janky, so currently images taken with it are pretty garbage. But knowing how the camera on the G4 performed, I can tell you it produces some amazing quality images. And with its companion 8-megapixel wide-angle camera, I found myself almost always taking two pictures, one with the standard 16-megapixel and one with the wide-angle camera. It's just so much fun to use. The 12-megapixel camera on the S7, however, might not produce as insanely sharp images as the 16-megapixel on the S6 from last year, but it still takes some of the sharpest, best-looking images in any camera on the market, and with its new sensor technology, low-light performance has improved quite a bit over last year's S6. Though not as dramatically as Samsung would have you believe. And the autofocus is stupid fast. I've never experienced anything like it before. It's truly, truly impressive. So with the G5's 2800 mAh removable battery and the Galaxy S7's 3000 mAh battery, Power consumption for both phones has actually been fairly similar, with both lasting me a full day if I don't go crazy, and sometimes even early into the next day if I'm conservative with my usage. But with the S7 having 200 milliamp hours more than the G5, I was usually able to squeeze out an extra half an hour to an hour or so more than the G5. So I really love the Galaxy S7 with its water and dust resistance, slightly better battery, better display, and awesome camera. But personally, I'd pick the G5 over the S7 for several simple reasons. Water resistance is important to me, but I don't need it. The G5's mono speaker sounds night and day better than the S7's. If it's got USB-C, give it to me. And lastly, I find the addition of the wide-angle camera to be pretty badass, and I'm in love with it. But that's just my opinion based on my needs and wants, so I'm really curious to know which one of these two awesome phones you'd pick and why, so let me know down in the comments. But I think that about does it for this one, so if you liked the video, show me some love and hit that like button, and if you're new to my stuff, don't forget to subscribe for more real soon. But thanks as always for watching, and I'll talk to you all in the next one. Cheers.